And keep in mind that Jim claimed on podcasts last year that Chrissy held me down through everything when he called her his day one bro. He didn't know about Reggie, about the baby, or about the calls. Or at least he didn't know until now. This isn't just messy. It could be illegal because if the court validates the audio, Chrissy could be charged with lying, withholding evidence, and possibly even endangering a federal investigation, all because she handled a jail call like a therapy session with her sidekick. But guess what? It gets worse because as the court proceedings were taking place, a man's soul left his body in real time, not on TV or in a movie, because what transpired between Chrissy Lampkin and Jim Jones Cameron wrecked hip-hop's reputation like a wrecking ball through velvet ropes. Imagine this. Cameron enters the courtroom looking smug and dapper on the red carpet, holding a USB as if it were some top-secret CIA technology. Then, 2 minutes later, the courtroom is filled with Chrissy's jail calls, loud and clear. Jim Jones collapses as if someone has just turned off his entire reality. What was on those tapes? Who the hell was she whispering to in the dark? And why did Jim collapse? The truth had knives. We're not just unraveling this. We're tearing it apart layer by layer. Anonymous leaks, legal sabotage, a mother's rage, and a public downfall of a Harlem icon are all examples of this. This isn't gossip. It's open warfare behind closed doors. Trust me, this isn't just scandalous. Shakespeare in the trap, betrayal, heartbreak, and a courtroom filled with receipts. But wait, this train wreck didn't begin. 3 legends entangled in a love triangle of secrets: Jim, Chrissy, Cameron, and love is a Harlem horror story that no one saw coming. And let's face it, it wasn't just about love. It was about lies, loyalty, and a judge's gavel. The courtroom was just the last act of this mess, which had love and hip-hop producers biting their nails and Dipset fans reliving trauma they never signed up for at the root. According to a courthouse leak. As you may already know, someone leaked a screenshot showing that prosecutors had been surreptitiously monitoring Chrissy's questionable jailhouse calls from the previous year. You recall when she was booked for that tax incident? Well, that was only a smokescreen. But the plot twist was that Cameron managed to obtain Chrissy's private recordings from jail. How did he get them? Some claim he paid off a guard, while others claim he's been gathering information since Obama's first term, waiting to drop the bomb. In any case, the judge permitted it, and as soon as those calls came through the courtroom speakers, everything exploded. Insiders claim Chrissy's voice rang out through the room. But she wasn't discussing legal defense or phoning her mother Roe. No, she was whispering sweet nothings to a man named That's Not a Twist. That's a detonation, and don't get it twisted. Wasn't TikTok drama? These were court-certified, judge-approved, evidence-stamped recordings, and there were reporters and a full jury box. But who the hell is Reggie? He was her piece, her backup plan, the man who knew about the baby, the man who never judged her. Hey, and he wouldn't let her rot in jail like Jim. When Chrissy said, "Che, Jim can't ever find out about phone out," recording the exact moment. Now, back to Jim. He pulled up to court looking like Harlem royalty, flashing like he was ready for a photo shoot. But as soon as Chrissy said, "Reggie," he hit the ground like a ghost walked through him. According to one eyewitness, the judge cleared the room after someone told Jim that his entire life was a lie. Chrissy didn't blink and leaned back as if he had just made a game-winning shot in Madison Square Garden. That Jim and Cameron haven't been cool in a long time. It wasn't just petty, it was carefully planned. Cam didn't show up to expose Chrissy. Instead, he came to Jim. Was checkmate, not chess. Now, let's talk about what Chrissy actually said in those calls. In one, 48 hours after she was locked up, she told Reggie, "Jim thinks I'm in here stressing over him, but he never really knew me. You always kept it real. Even worse, if they test the baby's DNA, it's done." But Jim doesn't ask questions. He just performs. Yes, she said that on tape with the stenographer. When a fourth call came in, Chrissy said, "Cam's been waiting to see me fall since 2012. Let him take his shot." By the end of the day, the internet was exploding with hashtags like Shuck Reggie. She had been anticipating the storm and welcoming it. Fans couldn't decide whether to laugh, cry, or cancel their HBO subscription because this courtroom drama had more heat than a summer Veruze. And just when you thought it was over, Mama Jones showed up? Yes. Jim's mother entered the courthouse like the last boss in a fighting game as soon as she learned why her son had passed out. It's safe to say that Chrissy should have defended myself twice, but when Mama Jones entered the room, the atmosphere changed. Court officers froze their phones and someone swore they heard a choir in the background. The time allegedly slapped a clock. And I say allegedly because the courtroom footage hasn't been leaked yet. Mama Jones approached Chrissy without saying a word, and she gave her a slap so forceful that the sound echoed off the walls of the courtroom, like it was official evidence. One person in the back whispered, "It sounded like lightning," and hit the building, and everyone just froze. Chrissy didn't flinch. Instead, she just blinked slowly. But this is where things get crazy. After the slap, Mama Jones said, "That's for lying about the baby." Without yelling or providing an explanation, just that mic dropped. Chrissy didn't answer. She just glared at the judge, saying, "So you're not going to cover, but let's be honest." Even the judge appeared shaken. Instead of putting Mama Jones in handcuffs, you should let her speak her mind and hope she doesn't flip. The courtroom security hurried in and quickly separated them. But by the time the incident was posted online, the damage had already been done. Chrissy was already trending memes when Jim arrived in the medical room. One of them featured her in jail, asking, "So, Reggie, do you have a storyline or nah?" Another featured Mama Jones with a phony quote that said, "I've been waiting to do that since 2009. But wait, this isn't even the most absurd part. Once the court returned, the prosecution later that day dropped all 4 of the jail calls that Cameron had provided, 2 of which were brand new. The third call, which set the room on fire, featured Chrissy telling Reggie, "If I go down, I'm dragging Jim with me. I've been cleaning up after him for years." But what does that mean? The prosecution wasted no time in running with it as if it were a touchdown. Insiders say that documents from season 3 show Chrissy listed as a creative consultant and receiving payment for episodes she didn't even appear for. Chrissy's legal team attempted to block the clip, claiming she was just venting and emotionally stressed. But the DA argued it hinted at something much deeper, possibly fraud, tax issues, or even misuse of love and hip-hop production funds. Even worse, a leaked document that just so happened to surface on X's Twitter minutes after the court reveals that she received over $75,000 in bonuses, all of which were dispersed through a business called Hustle Forever Entertainment LLC. You know, who co-founded that business? Jim Jones. This means that this is getting beyond relationship drama and is beginning to resemble a full-fledged act. Ben quietly announced that an internal investigation has begun. And one of the names that has surfaced is Mona Scott. She is accused of following the money, which allegedly led to a spin-off series that was never filmed but was still paid out. That's not even the word back in the courtroom, where things continued to spiral out of control. Chrissy's attorneys attempted to prevent Cameron from testifying, accusing him of being a biased and bitter judge. No, so Cameron went up there and let it all out. I knew I kept quiet out of respect, but when I saw Jim defending her as though she was a victim, I couldn't let that go. He added she'd been running a game from day one. That isn't love. A long con. Before the defense could even protest, Cam hit him with one more bomb. Cameron told me back in 2018 that she was done pretending, which I thought meant Jim was back in the courtroom by then, pale, silent, and broken. Just sitting there with his eyes down like a man watching his entire life fall apart in real time. Outside the courthouse, chaos broke out as Chrissy didn't Look at him once and continued whispering to her lawyer as if they were fighting over a parking ticket. I didn't realize she meant the baby too. The entire courtroom gasped. Even the judge had to pause and call for a break. Protesters appeared holding signs that read, "Justice for Jim. Chrissy lied." We cried. Mama Jones was right, and the blogs, oh, they didn't just catch fire. They detonated shade. Room baller alert Hollywood unlocked all in full-blown crisis mode. Releasing exclusives every 5 minutes as if the OJ trial had been rebooted. With one anonymous former Love and Hip Hop producer spilling to a tabloid, we always knew Chrissy played chess, but we were unaware that she had rigged the board. Remy Ma was also accused of teasing and then removing a mysterious Instagram story. Which is why you shouldn't give jailbirds a microphone. And let's not even talk about the fans' Twitter, which became a virtual battlefield where people were posting things like, "I knew she was shady the day she got down on one knee." Jim had been in a rut since 2010, but someone came to his aid. Meanwhile, Cameron went live outside the courthouse smirking and captioned the video saying, "Y'all, I don't miss. This wasn't just scandal. This was legacy assassination." Jim Jones isn't that up-and-coming rapper. He's a Harlem monument, a Dipset king, and the man who gave us We Fly High. Now, he's trending for courtroom collapses, betrayal, and trouble. Just hinted at new witnesses who will testify next week. If even a small portion of the rumors are accurate, we're talking about federal heat fraud, perjury, and wiretaps. All started by a single jailhouse call to a man named Reggie, who most likely fixes mufflers at AutoZone and had no idea he'd become Harlem's most. Chrissy Lampin is currently being investigated for conspiracy to commit fraud and obstruction of justice. The courtroom was transformed into a circus as soon as Jim Jones hit the floor, and the judge slammed her gavel as if she were calling Game 7. Chrissy Lampin is hated, and just when people thought things couldn't get any messier, there was a boom. What's real? What's a setup? And when the smoke clears, who's left standing? It's the question that fans, feds, and old friends are asking themselves in response to the fainting spell that was only Act 1. This isn't your typical reality TV meltdown. It's a multi-million-dollar collapse with legal vultures everywhere. Reputations collapsing, and the hip-hop and love empire hanging in the balance. By a thread, let's examine what comes next. And believe me, it's not just ugly, it's career-ending. To start, the federal government is no longer remaining silent. They have formally opened an investigation. Should come as no surprise that, once those jail calls were made public, filled with conspiracy theories, hush money rumors, and messy secrets, it wasn't just rumors, it became evidence. The FBI's Cybercrimes Division is already tracking this isn't just about phone calls. We're looking at wire fraud, obstruction, and tampering if they connect the dots. This insider close to the case stated that while Jim was unconscious on the courtroom floor, Cameron was busy playing puppet master. Some claim he timed the leak to flip the narrative, painting himself as the truth-teller of this whole messy story, but Chrissy's camp isn't having it. They're accusing Cameron of stealing the tapes and breaking privacy laws. Her legal team has already hinted at a countersuit, claiming defamation, harassment, and purposeful emotional harm. One of Chrissy's attorneys even called it a desperate move by a desperate man who is neck-deep in the same lies. But this is where things really get messy. The streets are consuming it, and many legal analysts think Cameron may have just played it smart by dropping those calls in public court. This forced the prosecution to change the focus from Jim's guilt to the person responsible for the entire situation. The hashtags Char Justice for Jim Cheramarin exposes, and the inevitable Cherasy Gate are now trending on Twitter. Fans around the world are divided more than ever before over arguments, memes, theories, and chaos. One popular tweet reads, "Jim fainted because he realized his whole career was built on Chrissy's lies. Cam just knocked over the house of cards." Another fan shared a TikTok of a cartoon, Jim Jones collapsing in slow motion to opera music, and it has already received millions of views. Not only is this drama emotional, But its financial sponsors are pulling out, advertisers are panicking, and the Love and Hip Hop franchise has reportedly lost millions in deals, partnerships, and merchandise sales since the scandal broke out. Other celebrities are also joining in, some whisperingly unfollowing, and others slinging slick shade in interviews. An insider from the marketing team informed us that no brand wants their name associated with this degree of toxicity. It's PR suicide, endorsements, dropping promoters, and ghosting. The ripple effect is vicious and only getting worse. Meanwhile, Chrissy has vanished from public life, making no interviews or public statements. Some claim it is due to guilt, while others claim it's a strategy. Chrissy's supporters are out in full force, launching ferocious online campaigns to restore her reputation, whether she's working out a plea deal, flipping on someone bigger, or her team getting ready to strike back. In any case, they claim she's just the latest victim in a dirty smear campaign created by jealous insiders with their secrets to hide and scores to settle. But let's ignore the commotion and talk about the ticking time bomb that mysterious child mentioned in those jail calls. If that paternity drama turns into another courtroom battle and those DNA results leak, bro, we're in for a full-blown media earthquake. Isn't reality TV? It's a soap opera on steroids. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, everything is pure. One anonymous crew member put it bluntly. They're talking about cast purges, major script rewrites, maybe even a complete reboot. But let's be honest, with this much dirt in the air, with emergency meetings, damage control, and whispered talks about delaying, or even straight-out scrapping future seasons' music altogether, panic sources claim that the entire Love and Hip Hop production team is in a downward spiral. Mess up. And if the franchise fails, it won't just be the celebrities who suffer the consequences. Hundreds of crew members, local companies, and entire production teams will also lose their jobs. The fallout is real. So what comes next? Hold on tight, because this legal battle is only getting started. Sealed documents could leak at any moment. Courtroom battles are becoming more intense. And social media is only adding fuel to the fire. Let's face it. This whole scandal has completely changed the rules for celebrity meltdowns, emotional breakdowns, betrayals, jail calls, DNA drama, and yes, Jim Jones fainting on camera. You couldn't have planned this mess if you tried. And just when you thought it couldn't get any messier, a VH1 whistleblower just leaked a list of cast members who were subpoenaed for questioning. Can you guess whose name it was? Circled in red. Now it's your turn. Was Cameron brilliant for making those jail calls? Or did he go too far? Is Jim Jones concealing something sinister? Or was that fainting spell the start of a more serious breakdown? What about Chrissy, the puppet master, or pawn caught in the crossfire? Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't be shy. Tell me who you're supporting, who's going to be exposed next, and what twist will believe me. The tea is still steeping, and we're only just getting started. This isn't just a scandal. This is history in the making. However, if this drama has you shaking, hit the like button and make sure it owes you child support. You're here for every damn thing drop.